Hi everyone, welcome to a short lesson overviewing Freddie Green rhythm guitar major and dominant chords. This is part one of a series taking a look at some basic Freddie Green rhythm guitar moves. This series is an accompaniment to my new monthly membership series for 2025, Swingin' Over Standards. If you haven't seen the previous promo videos for it or read about it, please check out the links in the description below. If you would like access to the PDF of what I cover in this lesson, please consider signing up for my monthly membership series. The links again will be in the description below, and you'll be able to access the PDF of the tab and standard notation upon signing up. So in this lesson, we'll be working on the key of C. If you're following along on the PDF, I have 4 chords listed out for you out of the caged chord, C chord, E shape. So if we're taking our caged chords and we move this all the way up to the 8th fret, we have a C major block chord, an E shape. Now, the first thing to know about the Freddie Green style is that most of the chords that we play will skip over or omit the 5th string. So in this case, we have C, G, C, and E. We'll skip over the G, the 5th on the 5th string, and just play C, C, and E as our chord. So this is just a stock C major Freddie Green grip major chord. So one thing that is always associated with the Freddie Green style is the movement of the bass notes, but often neglected when talking about it or demonstrating is the movement on the 3rd and 4th strings with the highest note, or the melody note in this case. So if we look at the 4th string here, we're going to see, especially on the PDF, that this 4th string moves to give us different harmonies. So not only do we need to keep in mind throughout these lessons the voice leading on the lower strings, the bass notes, but also on the higher strings, the 4th and 3rd. So we have C major, and then I reposition my 2nd and 3rd finger, and I have C major 7. I drop my middle finger and play C7 with the B flat on the 4th string, and then C6, we have the A on the 4th string there. So we can see this movement: C, B, B flat, A, major, major 7, dominant 7, 6th. Okay, so that's how I organize this in this first position here. Now we're going to move up to the C chord with E in the bass. This is the C over E, and the E is the 3rd. So we have this chord right here. I play it with my middle finger on the 6th string, 1st on the 4th, ring on the 3rd. Now, in my experience, I don't really see most people play the 2nd string with their pinky. That's where the harmony would be implied, where you'd have the C major and then the C major 7. You have to reposition. This is kind of a tough one. The C7 and then C6, which is hard to get out on this guitar. That's not something you really hear. It's nice for longer, lush chords, but not necessarily in the Freddie Green rhythm guitar style. So that's why I put those notes in parentheses. It's usually just this grip. I've also seen some people opt to finger it like this. Do what works best for you. A lot of this is my interpretation of the Freddie Green playing. So we have so far the C here, and then the C here with the E in the bass, the 3rd. Now we want to go to the C with the 5th in the bass, and that's right here. First, let's take stock of the cowboy chord that we're working out of. It's a C chord, A shape. So if you're used to playing country guitar or like Merle Travis fingerstyle guitar where you're doing a lot of root to 5th, that's how you're going to remember this chord shape. So we play now the G, the 5th with our middle finger, the 3rd, the E with their 1st, and the pinky on the C. That is the 1st. So we have this chord here, 5th, 3rd, and 1st. Then we can move the high string down to the major 7, that's the B, the flat 7, and then I put this one in parentheses. This is the C6 with the A on the 3rd string. The reason I put it in parentheses is because I don't often see players using this chord shape. It also just kind of feels awkward with the bar across the 3rd and 4th string. Usually when we're playing sixth chords in Western swing or swing guitar, we're using this first C6 voicing we learned. So far we have in order to the third in the bass, now the fifth in the bass, okay. So once we have those down and they're feeling comfortable, maybe we put them through a couple of different keys and we're keeping our fingers consistent so that when we come across a key like D flat or F sharp, we're not necessarily thinking about the note names, but more of relying on our finger positioning and the consistency that hopefully we've practiced. We can now move on to some basic connecting moves. So if we're following along the PDF, we'll look at the next two. This is an ascending move and a descending move you hear very frequently throughout Freddie Green's playing, along with every other swing guitarist. We have this move of the one connecting to the one chord with the third. So our bookends are the C6 here and then the C here. Now what we're going to do is this move. We're going to play C6 up to a G7 with the fifth in the bass, right? We can see the G chord there. Okay. And then we just take this up a half step to what I'm going to call an A flat 7 for now, but I want you to quickly forget that, and I'll explain why in a moment. And then we have the C over E. So this phrase sounds like this. If you've listened to swing guitar, probably sounds familiar instantly. So what we're doing here is playing the 1 and then the quick 5 of the 1 to imply just a subtle tension into a resolution again. But the resolution is slightly delayed because we're approximating or approaching our final chord, the C over E, and we want to get there chromatically. So yes, we can think of some substitutions. We can think of this chord as an A flat 7 chord that we're moving to, but the more simple way of thinking about it is, how do I get this shape to this shape? And the simple answer is, you move this one up a half step. You can hear the voice sitting there. We have the C now on the fourth string, and then we just move these two notes up to the resolved notes, the E and the G on the sixth and third string respectively. So we have the C6, quick, 5 of the C6, chromatic up into the C over the E. Now, we're going to do the same thing back down. We're going to play this C over E. We're thinking about getting to the G7 to resolve back to C, so I'm going to do the chromatic move just the opposite direction. So I have now basic connecting moves descending on the PDF. G7 to the C6. So it's pretty simple here. What we want to do now is connect this into a 1 to 4 resolution. So if we're playing in the key of C, we have the 1 chord to the 4 chord, that is the C to the F, and we'll put in a C7 in the middle here. So I'm going to start here on the high, C over E, and play like this. One more time with me talking through it, we have C over E, chromatic down to the G7, C7, F over C, F major 7, F over C, just to create some movement. So that's how we can now connect this into a resolution. So we have the descending dominant resolution 1 to 4. Now, let's do the same thing, but an ascending dominant resolution 5 to 1. So we're going to come down to our G chord here. We'll make it into a G7, G, F, and B. And we'll play this phrase. We'll go. So we're playing G7 to the 5 of G7. That's the D7. Quickly just moving through to resolve back to the G over B. And then the G chord, the 5 chord, resolves to the C, right up a half step. And then we're going to keep walking up to have interest in our chord movement. So these are a few basic moves to get you started working on your Freddie Green rhythm guitar voicings, connecting the bass notes as well as the fourth and third string melody notes, if you would like to consider or call them that. This will be the primer for our look at the different standards over the course of 2025. I'll be using many of these moves as well as several more that I've learned and kind of developed myself throughout the years over these tunes. The next thing I would do is take a look at the All of Me etude. You can see the promo for the melody slash solo in the description below. And we'll use some of these ideas and apply them to the rhythm guitar etude for the song, or what I'm playing as the accompaniment in that solo melody video. I hope to see you in the next lesson, as well as the monthly membership series, Swinging Over Standards, over the course of 2025. Thank you.